were technically trying to win. But all season, everybody was complaining about the Chiefs not blowing people out.
Right.
And I'm not going to point any elbows at anybody. I'm not going to point any elbows. And for
Guilty as charged.
For the radio listeners, I pointed an elbow at Kaden because he was one of those guys saying they should be winning, they should be blowing teams out. And I don't think that translates into Super Bowls. I don't think that translates into playoff success. And, you know, just like when I used to coach, and, yeah, I was saying we can whoop on teams, win by 20 or 30 points. But I'm like, but how about we use these games for practice? How about we use these games to get guys that usually aren't in those situations? And I believe that is what the Chiefs did.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go through the season. First game of the season was Baltimore. Big storylines. Everybody got to wait for it. Everybody got to wait to see if Lamar can throw yet. I mean, let me not.
He's a running back, right?
Yeah. He's pretty running back. He's pretty running back-ish, if that's a word.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs ended Baltimore season last year.
And got it started right this year.
You said what?
And we got it started right this year.
Yes, and then first game of the season, they lose to the Chiefs. So they have a Chiefs problem. Lamar has a big game problem. And you remember that game too?
Yeah, I was there. I was in the
You went to the
actually.
game?
Yeah.
So you saw Lamar.
I was in the end of where the touchdown was, Isaiah Likely's, or the catch that was almost a touchdown,
really?
I guess, yeah. But yeah, I was in that end.
Well, like, so you saw how hard Lamar wanted to win that game.
Yeah.
He threw his body in any situation.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good enough. And you would think the Chiefs 2-time Super Bowl wins, and then, you know, they beat Baltimore Ravens, and then they beat them to start the season. You would think it would take at least a season until everybody is like, Lamar is the MVP.
Yeah.
Lamar is the best quarterback in the league. Oh, the Ravens are scary. They lose one out of every 3 games, but they're scary. And so I don't really understand that. But yeah, the Chiefs won 27-20. And who got hurt that game? I don't remember who. I don't think anybody got hurt that game. But
I don't, because I know Hollywood was hurt in preseason. So
yeah.
Coming into the season, we already knew we were going to be without him.
Okay. Well, game 2 is Cincinnati, 26-25. Cincinnati is it's a weird team. Cincinnati is a good bad team, a bad good team. Who'd you rather be, the Steelers or the Bengals right now?
Oh man, that's a tough question.
It's a tough one. You got the quarterback?
I'm gonna go Bengals, yeah, just because you got the quarterback, and then I'd assume that they'll figure
Steelers
something
made
out
to the playoffs though, with no quarterback.
I'd assume they'll figure something out with Jamar Chase this offseason. So you know, as long as you got Joe and Jamar, then that probably puts you in a good position for the future. But
you would think.
They got to get the defense figured out, though, of course.
Yes, they do. All right, so we won't go through every game here. Atlanta, we beat Kirk Cousins. That was a pretty tough game.
Fourth down stop.
Oh yeah, that was the No, okay, so Baltimore was the toe game.
Yeah, Isaiah Likely. Yeah,
it was. If his foot was a size smaller, he would have scored a touchdown.
Yeah,
just like Kevin Durant with the Nets.
Yeah,
if his foot was a little bit smaller, he would have had some success with the Nets. But a foot size is the foot size.
The Bengals game was the controversial pass interference on Rashee Rice at the end.
Yes, when he got mugged.
Yeah,
and he got interfered with. Yes.
Yeah.
Atlanta, it came down to the last.
Yeah.
Yes, it came down to the last moment. So, yeah, and all these games are, what do you call it, nail biters.
Yeah, and I think with those being so early in the season, it only pushed that narrative more of, oh, they're not blowing people out, and, oh, they're only winning close games, you know, with it being, that almost seemed like that was going to be the story of their season from the beginning.
Yes. Well, okay, so we're 3 games in, all those games tight. Then the Chiefs play the Chargers. Harbaugh, Herbert. I almost called him Bumbert.
Yeah. It was Rasheed Rice that game. That was the game Rasheed got hurt.
Oh, that was the game, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. But yes, another nail biter. Chargers had an opportunity to win, but who's their quarterback? New Orleans Saints. The Saints were good at this point.
Yeah.
They started 3-0 or 4-0 and beat them 26-13. And I don't remember the chatter, but I'm sure the chatter was they should have beat them by 20 points.
Yeah. That was actually one of the games that it was convincing. It was a convincing win. They won from the beginning to the end. But like you said, I'm sure there were still people out there that wanted them to win by 3+ touchdowns or whatever. So
yes, and like I said, I think it was closer to the end. I forgot how. Yeah, but San Francisco 28-18. Everybody was hurt. Brock Purdy without the Avengers is just Aquaman in the desert. That is what Brock Purdy is without his without the super friends. Imagine you needing somebody to save the world, and it's Aquaman.
Yeah.
And downtown's on fire. Come on, Aquaman. What can you do? That is how San Francisco feels with Brock Purdy. I'm throwing a lot of shrapnel going out.
Yeah, you are throwing a lot of shade today.
Yeah. Hey, you know why? Because I am pumped. You know why I'm pumped?
Why you pumped, Covell?
We're getting to witness history and see the Chiefs contend to get a third straight Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I got it out.
I will say this is the first year in these these playoff runs where this may change over the next 12 hours or so, but I don't feel as nervous as I did in the other playoff runs. I feel more content, which obviously you could say it's because we won.
You know why?
Why?
You know why? So do you watch Army movies, war movies, or anything like that?
I've watched a few.
Full Metal Jacket, whatever.
Never seen that.
I forgot what that movie was. Watched it recently. Brad Pitt.
Okay.
Brad Pitt's in it. I can't think of who else is in it, but they're going. They're in battle, right? They come back. Some of their guys die. They're tank guys. Somebody loses their life. I don't know what we can say, but it was rough. And then they come back to base, and they find out they got to go back out, and then they have a new. What are they called? What's the first? New private?
Yeah, commander.
A new private. No didn't. Yeah. And he's green. He was right out of high school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you.
He came to war to buy a Charger. They didn't have Chargers back then, but you get what I'm saying.
Right.
He just wanted to. Yeah, he wasn't expecting what he was getting himself into, but he went out there, and first day it was an explosion. Something happened. Somebody was hurt very bad, and Brad Pitt said, "That's your fault. That's your fault because you hesitated. You can't hesitate." So, long story short, you go through the movie. He has a few of those encounters, and then towards the end or whatever, he's a grizzled veteran. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're grizzled veterans of the playoffs as Chiefs fans.
Right.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But that is why you're not as nervous, because we've been to war.
Yeah.
We've been down 10 points. We've seen Mahomes throw 2 interceptions, and we still win,
Shoot, we've been down 24 to these Texans.
These Texans.
Yeah, so
Texans.
We've seen it all by this point.
Yes, and, even before then, we saw Alex Smith lose to the Steelers without scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, that was one of the most painful Chiefs games I think I've ever watched.
Yes, my Chiefs fandom is calloused like a laborer's hand.
Yeah.
That is, I told you, when I almost cried like a grown man when the Chiefs lost to the Colts that year. Remember we were up, and we're off subject. It's not what, all right. San Francisco, see, that's how we be going off track.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. You mentioned something, and then I start singing the national, the Star Spangled Banner or something. Anyway, Las Vegas, Chiefs won 27-20. What is it? Close game. Everybody saying these Chiefs can be had. And you know what? Last year, at the end of the season, during the season, you know what everybody said? What everybody said, the national media, what everybody said was, if he wins a Super Bowl with this receiving crew, I'll never say anything again. I'll never question him. I'll never say Mahomes can't do this or they're looking bad. Everybody said it. You remember that, right?
Yeah.
And then the Chiefs got hot going into the playoffs. They stopped practicing, and then they started, the Chiefs, everybody else's team have off season, then they have preseason, then they have regular season, and then they have the playoffs, and then the Super Bowl. The Chiefs, everything is pushed back one. The preseason, Andy already got them ready in that training camp. That's their preseason. You know what I mean? The preseason is, you get the point. I don't have to go down the line. You get what I'm saying.
Right. The season starts in the playoffs for the Chiefs.
Season starts in the playoffs for the Chiefs.
And we don't start in the wild card round because we get that bye. We start in the divisional.
Exactly. Well, except for last year, but we'll do it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when week 8, when the Chiefs played the Raiders, that's when it really started. This team is beatable. This team, Mahomes doesn't have it. And, and at this point, Rashee Rice was gone, Hollywood gone, Pacheco was gone. Jalen Watson got hurt the eighth week.
Yeah. No Omenihu at that point either.
No Omenihu. No DJ. What's his name?
Humphreys.
No DJ Humphreys with the thought of coming in.
We were still shuffling the left tackle position.
Yes.
We still hadn't solidified that.
We were still doing the Wanye Morris experiment.
We were still doing that in week 15, so I know we were still doing it.
That's true. Yes. I'll speed this up. Tampa Bay, overtime. Chiefs are beatable. 8-0 at this time. It was one of the most scrutinized 8-0 teams since the Pittsburgh Steelers a few years ago. But they were actually frauds. You remember that year, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Was that Roethlisberger?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. They were like 11-0, but it was just dusty.
I believe that was his last season, and they lost to the Chiefs in the first round of the playoffs. That was Big Ben's last game.
Yes, it was.
I was at that game as well.
You was at that game as well? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a playoff guy, man.
Really?
Yeah.
See, but I'm weird. Somebody can be like, hey, you want to go? I have tickets. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Home is so comfortable, though.
Yeah, that cold weather is not attractive at this time of year.
No, it's not. Well, and you can't just go to the bathroom.
Right.
I can go grab a cold brew out of my refrigerator rather than doing the waving through. All right. Las Vegas, Tampa Bay, 30-24, 8-0. Denver Broncos, 16-14, 9-0. Lost to Buffalo, 30-21. And that, the Chiefs didn't look like they had a lot of, intensity in that game.
Yeah.
But just because the Bills played that game as if their life depended on it, and the Chiefs still had an opportunity to win that game. That was when he threw the pick at the end. But yeah, only loss. Carolina 30-27. Bryce Young is rebuilt. The Chiefs suck.
That was like his reincarnation.
And matter of fact, you and Kyle were low-key losing your minds in the text.
Yeah.
In the text stream.
Like, Bryce Young is frying us, man.
But I said, don't you remember Zach Wilson from last year when the Jets came?
Yeah.
And Zach Wilson had a career day.
Everybody has their best game against us, man.
Well, I think it's because Spags and Andy during the regular season say, you got the middle. You got over there. You got over there. They're not doing a whole bunch of fancy things.
Yeah.
But Las Vegas, 19-17. Chiefs suck, 11-1. 19-17. Chargers, Chiefs suck, 12-1. Cleveland won 21-7. Yeah, but it's Cleveland. You should have won by 20.
Yeah.
Houston, 27-19. That was a dominant win. Pittsburgh, 29-10. Dominant win, 15-1. That last game was gross.
Yeah, it was. It was hard to watch, honestly.
No, it was one of the hardest things ever. Because I told you, I didn't have any projects around the house planned. I was like, I'm going to watch the game as if it's a regular game.
Yeah.
and it was a waste.
I tried my best to have that same attitude, and it didn't work out, man.
Yeah, man, I was disappointed.
I told everybody we could have just stayed in Kansas City for that one and just gave the Broncos that win.
We should have. That's what you used to do in AAU. Like, hey, the weather's bad. 4 of our players are sick.
Forfeit.
All right, so that's the season up to this point. 15-1, trying to win. 15-2, and the Chiefs play the Houston Texans. When we come back after this, we will talk about injuries, and we'll talk about numbers, and we'll talk about some matchups. We'll be back after this.
can't afford that. But yeah, I think everybody else will be good to go for the Texans. Everybody else is a full participant in practice, so
Okay.
I think they'll be good to go.
All right. Well, yeah, we've done a recap of the season loosely, and it was like if it was a car driving, it was zigzag and it was going all over the place. But we got through it. We got through the injuries, and when we come back, we're gonna look at some numbers. We're gonna kind of break the game down by the numbers, and then we'll talk about specific matchups that we're interested in seeing. We'll be back after this. Can you pull up the what website is it that I use? Can you pull up the numbers, what the Chiefs rank in offense and things like that? I had it all here. That's so Kaden, I've been trying to do less writing and writing because then I have like 4 pages of notes and then I'm trying to get everything out. Then it sounds like I'm a robot.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, you know what? Let me just let technology do its thing. And that's why I don't use what's her name, Alexa or Siri. I don't have an Apple, but that's why I don't use Alexa or the little voice person on the phone. Because the time it doesn't work, that's gonna drive me crazy, and it's driving me crazy right now. But some of the big matchups, not matchups, by the numbers. We'll see here in a second. Well, oh, you got it?
Yeah. So where are you looking for?
Chiefs offense.
Okay. Yes. I mean, we averaged 327 yards a game.
Do you have the rankings?
Yeah. Let me get his rankings. Hold on 1 second.
Sheesh. I think you have a $1,200 laptop. It won't just restart on you when you're trying to do stuff. So, while he looks that up,
14th in passing offense. Total offense, Chiefs were 16th. Let's see, rushing offense, Chiefs were 22nd at 105 yards per game.
All right, what overall offense, 14th?
Yes, in total yards, and then scoring offense, they're 15th at 22.6.
Okay, and so 15th, and say the last half of the season, Mahomes and the offense kind of picked it up. Mahomes and the offense kind of picked it up. He wasn't turning the ball over so much, and I'm not an excuse giver, but when you lose your number one receiver that the Chiefs that the team signed, and then you lose your was supposed to be a number 2, but ended up being the number 1, and he was killing, and then he gets hurt, and then your starting running back gets hurt. Your left tackle's a rookie. That's a deer in headlights. What's other? Travis Kelce. I don't think he's cooked. I think he's been on a pitch count. I think they've been trying to not, they're trying to save him for the playoffs. So Kelce not the most dominant. He's not doing everything. He had a rookie running back at some point. I mean, Carson Steele. As a matter of fact, he had a running back come in. When did Kareem Hunt? What week was that? I don't remember what week. It was when Pacheco got hurt.
I know Pacheco got hurt week 2 versus the Bengals. So Kareem Steele was a running back for a couple weeks. So I say 4 or 5.
Okay.
Was when Reem came in.
So he came in. Yeah, so he came in the offense not knowing exactly. He was here, but that was 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
2017.
So yeah, some things that changed. And then, you add another left tackle in there. So it was just so many things happening. And most teams, when they'll go through that situation, they'll be awful. The Dolphins loses Tua and a corner, and then they lose 6 games in a row and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what was my point? What was I talking about?
Just the Chiefs offense. I think one of the numbers that stuck out to me just going through here is despite all of those numbers, none of those numbers were really impressive as far as rankings, but the Chiefs were second in the NFL in third down offense. At 48.5%, they succeeded on third down. The only offense in front of them was the Bucks. So I think that really shows that regardless of who was out there on the field around Patrick Mahomes, you still got 15 at the end of the day, and he's going to make those plays to keep the drive going.
Yes, and even the games where they were close or he didn't look great, he made special play at the end of the game to win the game.
When it needed to be made, yeah.
Yes, like the clutch meter. It's hard to quantify somebody's clutchness, but you can look at somebody's record. Somebody's record in the fourth quarter, down by 10 points, and that's, because Peyton Manning is not known as one of the best quarterbacks ever, right?
Right.
He wasn't. He was the most unclutch. He was like the most, that's enough shrapnel for the day. Peyton just minding his business, and I called him unclutch. But yeah, so Texans How's their offenses? How do their offense stack up? And then we'll look at the defenses before we go to break.
So, in total offense, the Texans were 22nd, 319 yards per game. Their first playoff game, they put up 429. Passing offense, they were 21st, 207 yards per game. C.J. Stroud had 261 yards passing in the first playoff game. And then rushing offense, I know Joe Mixon, they were right around the middle of the pack as well at 15th in rushing yards per game at 112. So
they're not lighting it up.
Yeah, and then in scoring offense, 19th. So yeah, just really average for the most part, middle of the pack.
Yes, and what I was gonna say, I forgot to say it. The Chiefs this season, when they signed Kareem Hunt, is when the Chiefs transitioned to, because during the offseason and everything, they were like, we're gonna be high flying, we're back.
Yeah.
Then everybody gets hurt, and then they're saying, we're just trying to get to third and short. We just want third and short. So that's why that third down percentage is so high, because with Kareem, he was getting 3 yards here, 4 yards there. Then you got a third and 3. Wow, that math was bad. It took me too long I had to use the fingers and everything, man. It's been a long day.
Yeah. And Kareem had, in their first matchup in Week 15, he had 55 yards rushing.
But he had like 60 receiving yards or something.
Yeah. He had I know he had a big catch at the end of the game to seal it. So, getting it to Reem is going to be important in this one, especially in short down.
All right, let's look at defenses.
Okay.
And, we should have flip-flopped, actually. That's what happens when you have technical difficulties. We're improvising. And so, the Chiefs. So you're looking up the Texans defense, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to look at defense ranks so we can get both teams.
Okay. And what is it? Go ahead.
Yeah, so we got the Texans were 6th in total defense,
Okay.
315 yards allowed per game. Chiefs were 9th at 320, so not far behind. As far as passing defense, Texans were 6th as well there at 201. The Chiefs were 18th at 218. Rushing defense, Chiefs were 8th at 101 yards per game, and the Texans were a little bit farther down at 11, so at 114. So definitely better defensive performances this year from these teams than offense.
Well, but if you was to just look at the Chiefs, if you just look at the numbers, you would say, oh, this is going to be a pretty close game.
Yeah.
This is going to be, but Vegas thinks otherwise. Vegas has the Chiefs 8.5, right?
Yeah. I think earlier I looked, it was 9.5 almost. Yeah, 8.5 or 9.5, yeah.
But yeah, 8.5 and 8.5. 8.5. Come on, it's coming. It's coming. The number is 8.5. Oh, there it is. So if you look at the numbers, you look on paper, you can say these teams aren't too different. But that's when you use the eye test.
Yeah.
And then you use the history test. I think decisions and judgment should be nuanced.
Yeah.
So like if somebody comes here and says, forget that analogy, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I think that's when you look, like you said, if you look at these numbers, you think that this is going to be a close matchup, but that's when you have to look at, like you said, the injuries and all the storylines within each team.
And what's at stake.
Yeah, and the Texans won't have Tank Dell. He was there in that first matchup with the Chiefs. He actually had that big touchdown. Yeah, he killed us.
And after he shredded his leg, or when he shredded his leg, he did not drop the ball.
Nope.
Which is that's respect.
Yeah.
That's respect.
Yeah, so there's different, just in that game was week 15, not too long ago, but just in that short time frame, that just kind of goes to show how this league can change. It can turn just in the nick of time, and these are two teams, and I think they're going in different trajectories at this moment. because the Texans didn't play well in that first playoff game. I think it was more a product of the Chargers not performing to their level.
Well, there's a word for that. There's a phrase for that.
What is that?
Chargers chargering.
Okay.
So,
I got
yeah,
you.
come on. Use the right words.
I got
here,
you.
man.
I
Come
got
on,
you.
man.
Well, yeah, the Chargers chargered, and so I think these two teams are headed in the opposite directions right now.
Well, see, and I wouldn't say – I think it is big brother and little brother. And, you know, like, and sometimes little brother be like, I could beat you. You know what I mean? Or
I think you kind of saw the same thing happen to the Texans last year with the Ravens in the playoffs. The Ravens kind of manhandled them in the playoffs last year.
Well, yeah.
So,
As a matter of fact, they not even little brother. They little cousin.
Yeah.
The Texans are the little cousins because the Bills and the Ravens are the Chiefs' little brothers.
Yeah.
And then little cousin that come over
every
summer.
Yeah.
Like, comes down in the summer
for
being
4th of
annoying.
July. And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, come look at my shoes. All right. We will be back after this, and we will discuss specific matchups. And then after that segment, we will have Michael Darcy call in, and he's going to join us for It Poops and Under Over. We'll be back after this.
So he's going to call in here?
Yeah, he's going to call at 10:15. So I want to try to get off at 10:13. How long is this next break?
We got a minute left on this one.
Is the video off? We are back in the pocket. I don't know where that accent came from. We're back in the pocket. Sports Radio 810 WHB. And we are going to discuss some matchups. We're going to discuss some matchups for the game tomorrow. And I guess we can do individual matchups and position matchups. We will, what is a game? It's a child game. Hot pickle? Hot potato.
Hot potato.
We're gonna hot potato. I can't talk today, Kaden. We're gonna hot potato the matchups.
Okay. I can go first.
All right, bet. Let's do it.
Okay. My first matchup is going to be Travis Kelce versus the Texans secondary. Well, I'll say playoff Travis Kelce versus the Texans secondary.
Different dudes.
Yeah, it's totally different guy than the guy we've seen the last two regular seasons. Historically, he's actually one of the greatest playoff performers of all time. So I'll be interested.
He's actually second.
Yeah. So
most in yards, second in touchdowns.
Yeah, right
Jerry
behind
Rice?
Jerry Rice. Yes. I don't think anybody's gonna break that one. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how they contain him. In the Week 15 matchup, Travis only had 30. He had 5 catches for only 30 yards though. So a lot of his work was right around the line of scrimmage. So I'll be interested to see how Andy can scheme him open. I think it'll be important to get him going early and then kind of get the other guys involved. So, yeah, that's my first matchup is Travis Kelce versus the Texans secondary.
Okay. Mine here is our offensive line versus the Texans defensive line.
Very big matchup.
Mouthy fellas. But they're good.
Yeah.
But the last time they played, they wasn't too scary. They wasn't too bad. Well, the Chiefs played great, and Tooney played great at left tackle. So I'm interested to see if Caliendo, every time I hear Caliendo, I think of Mike Caliendo, the dude that does the impressions.
Yeah. That's funny. I think of the exact same thing. It's
every
hilarious
time
you say that.
I think of John Madden's voice.
Yeah.
He does a Madden better than Madden.
Yeah.
But anyways, what was I talking about?
His John Gruden one is hilarious. You got to see it.
It is. I've seen it. No, yeah.
Oh, man. It's hilarious.
What was I talking about? See, I keep getting off topic. Matchups. Yes. Chiefs offensive line versus Chiefs defensive line. Yeah, like to see how Caliendo does. Like to see if Tooney, his success at left tackle, can carry over into the playoffs. And yeah, remember that long run, that defensive tackle. What was his name? The one that was talking stuff about Mahomes before he got there. He was saying,
"Oh man,
I forgot his
remember his name. He's not like one of their top guys.
No, but
I can't remember his name.
But when the Chiefs scored on that touchdown, who was it that got
he was one of the ones that
shaken
got
off.
stiffed. Yeah.
Yes, he got a good stiffy.
Yeah, he was.
But all right, that's mine. And you said Travis Kelce versus the
Texans secondary.
Texas secondary, and secondary is kind of one of their weaknesses. No, they got some pretty good guys.
They got Derek Stingley, Al Shahir, the guy that got suspended for Trevor Lawrence
being a meanie.
Yeah. So they got some guys over there.
All right, what's your other matchup?
I'll say the Chiefs D line versus the Texans run game, because I think if you take away the run game, I think the Texans have been most effective this year whenever they can get the run game going first.
Yeah.
So I think if you take the run game away, which the Chiefs did in the first matchup, then that'll be key to stopping the Texans offense for sure.
No, yeah, I'd agree. And it would really help if Joe Mixon isn't playing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
so
like we said earlier, I think they said that he has a good shot to go, but
he's not going to be 100%.
Yeah, he's not going to be 100%. So
bad will.
Yeah, if we're able to, shut down the run game, put all the pressure on C.J. Stroud, we see he didn't look very impressive. I think he had 2 or 3 picks versus the Chargers. So
he threw a few picks when we played him, didn't we? When the Chiefs played him.
Yeah,
it was like a lot of turnovers.
I know he had I know Trent McDuffie had one that game. So
yeah, he did.
Yeah, at least one. So yeah.
Okay.
I like to see how our D-line shows up. They've shown up all season, so I wouldn't expect anything different from them.
Yes, and even Chris Jones, because Chris Jones played different in the fourth quarter than he does in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And he plays different in the, so yeah, this whole team is transitioning into this, let's get through it. Let's get through the regular season, and then we'll start playing.
Yeah, and he's very well rested now, too. He had the calf injury.
He took 2 games off, didn't he?
Yeah, so that was actually one of the injuries that we didn't cover earlier, but he's healthy now. He had the calf injury, but he's all good to go. So
that's what's up. All right, so my next matchup is Trent McDuffie versus Nico Collins.
Okay.
And since Jalen Watson is back, and he said you said Pete Sweeney said he may play.
He said he would guess that he's going to play around 50% of the snaps.
And I think that helps McDuffie with Nico Collins, because without somebody on the level of Jalen Watson or the skill of Jalen Watson, they have to do a lot of funky things with McDuffie. Sometimes they put him in slots. Sometimes they have to move him around too much, because you see McDuffie looked the best when he had L'Jarius Sneed on the other side. And starting a year before Watson got hurt, he was looking like he did last year. So with him back, and even the threat of him being there and shutting down his guy, his quarter of the field, I think that helps McDuffie, and I think he could legit. He can make sure Nico Collins doesn't have a great day. Is what I'm, and he's still salty about that whole all Pro Bowl snub. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I like it. I definitely like that. I think Trent's gonna be up for the challenge. He's been up for the challenge every time that a wide receiver one has been put in front of him. You look at what he did against Jamar Chase, put the clamps on him. He was Triple Crown winner this year.
Yes.
He's accepted every challenge. He's come to each game ready to work, and I think he'll be ready for that matchup with Nico Collins for sure.
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing it. So, what's Patrick Mahomes' playoff record?
I believe it's 15-3.
15-3. What is his record during the divisional round? Or should I ask you these questions pre
6-0.
6-0?
Yeah.
Oh, you're on it.
Yeah, I actually retweeted that earlier. It's funny you say that. I'll go through his stats actually.
Let's do it.
6-0 record in the divisional round, 1,813 total yards, 16 total touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 70% completion percentage, and a 115.8 passer rating. Kind of okay numbers if you ask me.
Yes, it'll get it done.
Yeah,
I mean
that'll get it.
It'll do.
Yeah. So historically, you could say he's the best divisional round quarterback ever. He's 6-0. So,
well, yeah, nobody's ever done anything like that before. So what is it that you think the Texans can do to win this game? What do you think the formula? Because there is a universe. I don't know if you're into the multiverse and the Marvel. I don't really get it. Yeah, my girl love it. But like in another universe, there's a situation where the Texans beat the Chiefs. I don't think it's this one.
Right.
I don't think it's in the Milky Way. I don't know if that's where we are. But yeah, I don't know if this. But what would have to happen for the Chiefs, for the Texans to win?
I think first of all, the way that I've seen teams beat us in the past with Pat especially is just get after him, which obviously a lot of people have been pushing that narrative this week because the Texans have a really good defensive line. But if they get after Pat, and they also are going to have to win the turnover battle as well. I think that's very key if you want to beat a team like the Chiefs. They don't make a whole lot of mistakes, but when they do, you have to capitalize on them. You have to get the turnovers, and then you have to capitalize on those turnovers as well. You need to score off of them as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one formula I think DeMeco Ryans and Co will have is to get as much pressure as they can on Pat and try to win the turnover battle.
Easier said than done.
Very.
Especially in the divisional round.
Very.
So for the Texans, in my opinion, for the Texans to win this game, Mahomes would have to have 2 or 3 picks. And I say 2 or 3 because if he has 2 picks and somebody, I was going to say muffed a punt, but that is too specific.
Knock on that. Knock on that.
I'll knock on this this wood here. But or if it's no, it would have to be a train wreck. It would have to be an absolute train wreck for that to happen.
Yeah.
I think. But train wrecks can happen. Going for the 3-peat. It happened to the Patriots when they were trying to 3-peat. So it's possible, but it just seems like in situational is the teams that are good in situations are the teams that are successful in the playoffs. And the Chiefs have been in every situation this year, it seemed like. They beat a team by 2 touchdowns. They won by a point. They won by 2 points. They won by 1 possession for like 12 straight games. So I believe that is if you're making a stew, I think that's sugar, spice, and everything nice that makes it just the perfect little stew for the Texans on. My analogy game today is usually they just be coming out and
We're working on it.
No, even Michael Jordan missed a shot, man. He didn't make all of them.
Yeah, for sure. But can't make them all.
But yeah. So we're gonna be back here shortly, and we're gonna have Michael Darcy on. He has a YouTube channel, Kansas City Sports Report. Check it out, and we'll have him talk about it too. But he's going to come, and we're going to do some It Poops. We're going to do some Under Over. We're going to do the Lunch Pail Award, and we are going to do the Feel Good Award. So we have some good stuff for you here. We'll be back after this.
very favorable matchup going in the Chiefs' favor tomorrow.
See, I do too. And over the last 3 years, like the Chiefs have favorable matchups, but they like to make things interesting. They like to keep us on the edge of their seat. So are you expecting any of that tomorrow, or are you expecting a decisive win?
This is one of those games that I think that the Chiefs can lose, but the Texans can't win. I expect the Chiefs to go into this game tomorrow rejuvenated from all of that rest. They've had 24 days off, Covell, to just prepare for this matchup. And I don't think we see a Chiefs team that's not motivated to go out there and, go out there and win. I think they're going to go do that. So I expect a decisive Chiefs victory. I think they'll get it done tomorrow. And I don't think that this is a game we're ever going to question if the Chiefs are going to win.
No, yeah, I'd agree. And if the Texans were to get this win, would this be like one of the biggest upsets in like forever?
It would be the biggest upset in the last 5 seasons. I think the biggest previously would probably be that Titans win over the Ravens a couple years ago. But, I mean, you don't really see matchups like this. The favorite, the number 1 seed, wins these matchups like 80% of the time. So it is highly unlikely, statistically speaking, that the Chiefs drop this game.
Yes, it's almost like guy on the Titanic. So what did he say? God himself couldn't sink this ship. But an iceberg can. So we're just hoping we don't see any icebergs. But yeah, man, I appreciate you calling in. And yeah, you want to tell about your work that you're doing over there on YouTube with the Kansas City Sports Report, sir?
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube at KC Sports Report. We do daily Chiefs coverage on the platform, and we like to take topics that not everyone talks about. I mean, you obviously hear about the injury reports and stuff like that, but we give a different perspective on YouTube, and I'm excited to get you on the show, Covell, because we're going to have a good time, hopefully next week, talking about an AFC Championship game preview between either Buffalo or Baltimore. That's going to be the game of the week, but yeah, no, I'm super excited for that.
No, yeah, me too. And respect what you're doing over there, sir. And yeah, I look forward to coming on.
I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it as well.
All right, and so yeah, there's a few things we talked about before you got here. Is there a specific matchup, whether it's positional or individual matchup, that you're interested in?
I think there's a couple. I think that this game is going to be won or lost in the trenches, and that's on both sides of the ball. I think that Chris Jones could absolutely feast against that Texans offensive line, which isn't very good. Their interior is incredibly weak. I think he could have a couple sacks or at least force a lot of pressure on C.J. Stroud. And I think, also sticking with the theme of the defense, who's going to guard Nico Collins? Is it going to be Trent McDuffie? Is it going to be Jalen Watson, who's making his return from injury? I think we likely see Trent McDuffie on their best, which, I mean, if it's our best versus their best is going to win that matchup 9 times out of 10. But offensively speaking, I'm very intrigued to see what Joe Thuney does as the starting left tackle against a very good edge rusher in, Danielle Hunter, who's, been an all-pro before. I expect the Chiefs are going to be getting the ball out very quickly on offense, so Joe Thuney doesn't have to hold up for 5 seconds. But expect a guy like Xavier Worthy or Hollywood Brown to get really involved in the screen game. I think Mahomes is going to try to get the ball out very quickly because you don't want to test the tackles too much, at least right away. I think they're going to have to ease Joe Thuney into it. And so I expect them to get the ball out quickly and find whether it is a DeAndre Hopkins or a Travis Kelce, who's statistically been one of the best postseason receivers ever. I think that he is going to continue with that trend, but just get the ball out quickly offensively, and I think you're going to do okay.
Okay, and what was I about to say? You're saying get the ball out quickly. Oh man, it's been happening all day. My brain has just been like mush or something.
It's that part of the evening, my friend. I get it. I think
yes.
Was it something about the pass rush against that Texans offensive line?
Pass rush against I want to ask you a question here as devil's advocate. That's how you say it, devil's advocate. So with Thuney in at left guard, we noticed it immediately. The Chiefs were playing a quicker offense. They were getting the ball out of the Mahomes' hands quicker, and they were playing a quicker offense. They were getting the ball out of his hand quicker, and I was just thinking, what our rookie left tackle, if that was the game plan with him, do you think he would have done better rather than like before our receivers got hurt, before Rice got hurt, before Hollywood got hurt, the plan was to drop back and have the high-flying offense. But then those guys got hurt, and then you had to settle it down or slow it down. And I think he would have been better with the Kareem Hunt offense and the fast-paced offense. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. The issue with Kingsley is he was a guy the Chiefs drafted at BYU in the second round. They had expectations that he was going to be the starter, and honestly, that was kind of just unfair to him because it is incredibly rare to find left tackles in the second round of the draft. And really, outside of the top 15, you're not going to find a superstar left tackle in the draft. Like the Joe Alts of the world, they go in the top 5. You're not going to find them at the end of the first round or even in the second round. And so, honestly, I feel bad for the kid because he just wasn't ready. Yeah. I think he probably looked pretty good in training camp going up against, Mike Dana and George Karlaftis. But against guys like Trey Hendrickson, he was just not good enough to cut it. Going into this game, there's a really big conversation about, are the Chiefs making a mistake having Joe Thuney potentially start at left tackle instead of DJ Humphries, which I think is very interesting because we have seen Joe Thuney play left tackle for a month. He played in like 4 games. He started at left tackle, and he was going up against the best of the best edge rushers like Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and he did not break. And so I think he is easily the best option for left tackle, and I think Andy Reid agrees, which is why we're going to see him on Saturday.
All right, so is Caliendo the right guy for guard?
Yeah, they'll go with Caliendo at guard, and then in case of emergency, like a break glass, they would probably, assuming that like Mike Caliendo got hurt, if this is the hypothetical, they would move Joe Thuney back to left guard and bring in Humphries as the starter because Humphries is not playing in this game because he's hurt. He's not playing in this game because he's not better than Joe Thuney. So I think that if there was some injury to Caliendo, they would move Thuney back to left guard and roll Humphries out there as the starter.
Okay, any chances they put in Kingsley in at guard or Wanye Morris? Because I heard that they were doing some of that at practice. What are you hearing about that?
The issue is I think that Wanye Morris can play some guard in a pinch. He actually looks pretty solid at right tackle in the absence of Juwan Taylor. But I think it's unlikely that we'd see Taylor, or I guess unlikely that we'd see Wanye Morris at left guard. Maybe he could play right guard if Trey Smith got hurt, but I think assuming that everyone stays healthy, the offensive line would be Thuney, Caliendo, Humphrey, and obviously Trey Smith and Juwan Taylor. If someone did get hurt, maybe you see a guy like Kingsley, but honestly, Covell, I think he might be a healthy scratch from this game. That's how bad he has been this season, and I don't know if the Chiefs are going to really trust him come playoff time to be solid.
Bless his heart. Okay. All right. I appreciate it. And, so, yeah, I spoke to you about doing it poops, and we're going to get into that, but since all I figured I'd ask you a few questions because I know especially this time of the year, you're chock full of information that you're just trying to get out.
Of course.
All right. So yeah, wanted you to get some of that out. I appreciate it. All right. And now we are going to do it poops. And for people that are new to the program, it poops stands for in the pocket or out of pocket. And that is when we say a phrase, a statement, a proclamation. And then the other two guys, it'll be me, Darcy, and it'll be Kaden. And then, the other two say if that's in the pocket or out of pocket. And per game of it poop, which this is, you have one time to say that's halfway in the pocket or halfway out. So it's dangling out of the pocket. It's not all the way in. You know when you don't commit. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, who wants to go first? Kaden, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first.
All right. So
In the
let's do it.
pocket or out of the pocket, Travis Kelce will have a 100-yard receiving game this postseason, assuming the Chiefs win.
This postseason or
This
tomorrow?
This postseason, assuming the Chiefs win tomorrow. So it could be tomorrow, or it could be the division or the AFC Championship games, maybe Super Bowl.
I say in the pocket because I think the Chiefs were. Yeah, I think Travis Kelce was on a pitch count.
Okay.
I believe they were trying to, keep him fresh for the playoffs and didn't want him to do nothing too funky in the regular season because what does that really matter? He's trying to three-peat. So I'd say in the pocket, he's going to be in hot and heavy.
Do you see it happening tomorrow, or maybe a different game in the playoffs?
Tomorrow, 100 yards, all the way in the pocket.
Okay.
What you think? What you think, Big Mike?
What we got, Mike?
That is absolutely in the pocket.
Okay.
If you do not think that Travis Kelce, who's been one of the best postseason receiving options in NFL history, can't scratch together 100 yards in potentially 3 football games, listen, there is nobody else I would put my money on than Travis Kelce in the playoffs. I agree with you guys. He's going to have 100 yards tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this Darcy guy. All right, what else you got, Kaden?
I got in the pocket or out of the pocket. Chris Jones will lead the Chiefs defense in sacks this postseason.
In the pocket or out of pocket? Chris Jones. See, like I'd say the Greek Freak, George Karlaftis, because Chris is going to be getting double teamed so much. So I'd like to say that Karlaftis is going to get the residual sacks that he did a year ago.
Okay.
So out of the pocket.
Out of the pocket.
No
okay.
disrespect, Chris. What you think?
Honestly, this is one of those questions that's so difficult because, like you said, Covell, he is going to get doubled, if not triple teamed. Defense, or I guess offensive lines, are not going to let Chris Jones beat them. So I'm going to say out of the pocket because I think that George Karlaftis is going to have a good postseason. Expect someone like Charles Omenihu to also have a really good postseason run. He's kind of got a little revenge game against his former team tomorrow.
Oh,
He
yeah.
could easily get to C.J. Stroud and kind of make a little impact right away.
That's one of the storylines we could touch on later on as well.
Yes, it can.
You
Yes, it can.
we had the biggest storyline from this game, D Hop or the other guys. So.
Oh yeah. All right. So yeah, we're both on the same page here. So what you think? What's your next one?
That's all I got for in the pocket or out of the pocket.
Okay.
I've got a couple.
Okay. Let's do it.
So in the pocket or out of the pocket? This is a good one. If the
Hold
Chiefs
on
do
one
not
second.
win,
It's in the pocket or out of pocket.
it could be either.
Okay. Yeah.
It could be either. I'm letting you guys decide. I'll say it's in the pocket. But if the Chiefs do not win tomorrow, they had a failure of a season.
In the pocket, all the way. All the way. What? We don't treat the regular season as practice to lose in the playoffs.
And I'd say
Especially the first game.
I'd say in the pocket, just considering what type of year we've had, or the type of season we went to the AFC Championship game every year.
It's
year
Super
the
Bowl
past 6
parade or
years. So-
bust in Kansas City right now.
Right. So I think, did you say this game tomorrow specifically, Michael?
Yes.
Yeah,
If the Chiefs
yeah.
lose, well, really, if they lose any point before or even in the Super Bowl, it's a failure of a season.
I would say not before the Super Bowl. I think if they lose tomorrow, yes.
Well, so it's a two-headed coin. See, my analogies aren't even working today.
Because you got the Bills or the Ravens next round. It's not.
But you got to think you beat them both last season.
That's
and
very
you're
true.
the top dog. You're the number 1 seed. The expectation, at least in Kansas City, and my expectation, if this team does not win a Super Bowl, it could be harsh, but they didn't have a successful season because we measure success by championships. And if they don't do that after all of this rest, after everybody got healthy, listen, it's not going to be the worst season the Chiefs have ever had, but it wasn't a definitive success.
Right, for sure. I think by any means, all the players would see it as a failure for sure. Even if we don't, I think the players would feel that way for sure.
Well, so yeah, like technically, if we're being technical, a 15-2 season can't be a bad season, but
Right.
we're not being technical. We're being fanatics.
I'm in the pocket, Michael.
I'm in the
Okay.
pocket too.
I think that's a clean sweep. It honestly would be a failure if they lost tomorrow. But I got another one. In the pocket or out of the pocket? I'm going to say out of the pocket for this one. Chiefs score a defensive touchdown.
Chiefs score a defensive touchdown.
I'm trying to think. What was the last defensive touchdown the Chiefs scored?
That they recover.
When was the last time we scored a defensive touchdown?
When was the last one?
It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm about to say
definitely been a while. I can't even think.
I wish we had Curtis here because
Right,
Curtis
right.
popped
He
that up
pulled
in
it
2
up
seconds.
quickly.
Right out there. I say out of the pocket because the Chiefs' defense is a good stout defense, but they're not necessarily we're gonna take the ball. And it seems like they all play like robots. If they get a pick or if they get a fumble, they're gonna get to a spot and take a knee and let the offense do their thing.
Yeah.
So I say out of pocket for that reason. What you think, Kaden?
Yeah, I'd say out of the pocket. I could see us maybe getting a pick or two, but we don't usually do a good job returning them. I think the most notable interception return I can remember is Jalen Watson's against the Chargers at home. I think it was 2 seasons ago maybe.
Wow.
That's the last time I can even remember a Chiefs defensive touchdown. That's how long I can,
I guess it
can
has been
think
a while.
back. But, yeah, that's all I can really think of. I'd say out of the pocket.
Yeah, me
I think
too.
that's probably safe. The next one that I got is, I'm going to say, this is one of those ones I'm not going to commit to. Patrick Mahomes leads the team in rushing yards.
Ugh. Ew, out of pocket. Ugh.
Michael, I'm going to go in the pocket.
Whoa, what you?
I think it's good.
I'm going to go in the pocket. I saw an interesting stat on ESPN. It said that the Texans are towards the bottom of the league in guarding QB scrambles. And we've seen what Patrick can do with his legs, especially in the playoffs. And I think that with the uncertainty in the backfield right now, we really haven't seen either back really take the lead share. I could see it happening. I definitely could.
Well, I don't really want to see it happen.
No, I don't.
I could
for
see
sure.
it happening, but that means
I definitely don't.
But look, so the reason why I don't see it happening, the reason I don't want to see it happen is because if that is the case, the game is most likely closer than it should be, and that is one of those scenarios where the Texans win the game.
That's true.
So I want nothing to do with that. So, yeah, I'm going to say out of pocket, wishful and hopeful. What do you think about that one, Mike?
Honestly, I think that's a good thing because if Patrick Mahomes leads the team in rushing, it means he's scrambling a lot. But it also means that guys like Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt have just been a non-factor in the game. So it would be good if we're all wrong, but I think that there's a chance that with the scrambling and plays breaking down, he could run for some big third downs. And if he's getting 12 yards a clip, then only takes 3 or 4 rushing attempts to maybe be the leading rusher on this team. So it's a possibility, but I think that we're all kind of spot on in our thinking, or at least our rationale. The last one that I have, I think is in the pocket, and that's that Kareem Hunt will have an anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I believe, in the pocket. I believe he's going to have a touchdown for sure. Like, yeah, maybe a few. Because I think, I think the offense is going to be more efficient. And in the red zone, I don't think they're going to be doing all that cute stuff that Andy likes to do during the regular season. So, yeah.
I'll go in the pocket as well. Like you said earlier, Michael, this is a weak run, or interior at least, run defense. So I could see him getting across the goal line for sure.
Yeah, you got any more, Mike?
Well, I had Travis Kelce over 100 yards, but I think we kind of covered that. I think that's easily in the pocket.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
All right. You said that's your last one?
Yes, but I did get some other questions for the over-under that we'll hopefully play here soon.
Okay, we'll do that. All right, so here's my first one. McDuffie will have 2 picks tomorrow. He
Go
had his
ahead, Mike.
first
That's
pick.
out of pocket. That's out of pocket.
CJ been throwing it away, man.
You're not even on the field.
CJ's been throwing it around, and if Nico Collins, his number 1 target, that's his only real option, and McDuffie is on him like a fitted blanket, like a fitted blanket that goes on the mattress. It's tight. You got what I'm saying. I told you my analogies aren't here today. My analogies
They're
stayed
usually
home.
a little sharper.
Yeah, for sure. But so yeah, what do you say?
I'm out of the pocket. Obviously, we saw Trent go so long throughout the start of his career without a pick, and then we saw him get 2 in, I think it was 6 days or something crazy like that. But
who's CJ's other targets though?
Dalton Schultz, Robert
John
Woods, John Metsy, Robert. I'm not sure if Robert Woods is playing.
The corpse of Robert Woods.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, he's still hanging on, man.
Dalton Schultz and John Metsy are probably the 2 other main options, and then Mixon mixes in the passing game as well.
Robert Woods is the Harrison Barnes of the NFL. He's just around.
Yeah.
All right, that's not nice. So both of y'all said out of pocket?
I'm out of the pocket, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't bet, but I should go bet that just so I can get $1 million and tell y'all. All right. Kareem Hunt will be the number 1 back for the playoffs.
The entire playoffs.
And by when I say number 1 back for the playoffs, I mean like yards, how many plays, how many touchdowns. You know what I mean? I think, yeah, Kareem Hunt will be the feature back, not Pacheco, in the pocket or out of pocket.
I'm going to say out of the pocket, and just because I feel like the Chiefs have a loyalty to Isaiah Pacheco that they probably shouldn't have.
But they won't do it if it's not going to win.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like Kareem Hunt's going to lead the team in touchdowns. He's going to have like 4 or 5. They're just going to give him the ball in goal line situations.
I don't know.
Really? You think they're going to give it to Pacheco?
Well, what was the last game where we needed to win? It was a third down, it was a third down and short, and Pacheco didn't get it. And then the rest of that game, it was the Texans game, I believe.
Game, yes.
And then they said, all right, Kareem Hunt, take us home. And he just started carrying dudes again.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a good argument to be made. I just wonder if Andy Reid is going to give Hunt the workload over Pacheco. Listen, I want it to be Kareem Hunt. I think he is the better back between the two, at least in this point. He's better for this Chiefs offense, in third down situations. Because there was a play, or there was a series, I don't remember which game it was, but it was towards the end of the season where Pacheco had a 3rd and 1 situation, didn't get it. They go right back to him on 4th and 1, didn't get that either. And so he cannot be put.
That was the Texans game.
It was?
Yes, that was the Texans game. Then they gave it to Kareem, and he ran the game out. He actually took a knee.
Yeah. Because he slid, because he could have easily gotten in the end zone for that, touchdown. So, honestly, I want to see Kareem Hunt be the feature back, but I cannot confidently say that he will be. So I'm out of the pocket. I'm out of the pocket on this one.
I like the ones that are hard to answer.
I'm going to go out of the pocket as well. I just think that Pacheco is more rested now. I think he's going to be ready to go. He's got, some time under to get his injury all healed up. He didn't really, even when he came back, his first game he did have that one long explosive run down the sideline. But other than that, I didn't really see a lot of explosiveness from him.
Yeah.
But I think that was just trying to get back into the feel of the game. I think you'll see some of those explosive runs from him, and that'll give Andy the option to.
And if not, we're gonna have a heavy dosing of Kareem.
Yeah, I'd agree that that's probably what it should be. If Pacheco isn't looking how he looked, what we expect from him prior to the injury. So.
Okay, all right. Last one, then we'll go to break, and we'll try to get to the other things we want to talk about. Lamar Jackson. Hold on, let me preface this. So Lamar Jackson, his playoff history is really similar to Peyton Manning, which is they have a great season and they get to the playoffs. And the playoffs is usually when they have their worst game. So this isn't me just saying Lamar can't throw, which you can't. I mean, he can throw a little bit, but you know what I mean. But Lamar Jackson will have his worst game of the season against the Bills. In the pocket or out of pocket?
I'm going to say, oh, man.
It's
I'm going to say halfway. Because here's the thing. I love to say that Lamar Jackson can't throw the football and that Lamar Jackson chokes in big playoff moments, which he's done through his entire career. But here's the thing. The difference between this Ravens team, at least in the first week of the playoffs, than what we've seen from a lot of the previous teams, they committed to running the football. And when you have Derrick Henry and you have Lamar Jackson, that is a very tough duo to stop. The issue is if Lamar gets punched in the mouth, if the Buffalo Bills go up by like 2 scores, they're not going to be able to run the ball. They're going to abandon what they do best. And if that's the case, he is absolutely falling apart. But I actually think that I think that Baltimore is going to be able to run the ball very well against that Buffalo defense that I don't think is very good. So I'm going to say neither in or out of the pocket, but I would not be surprised if he has a really good game or a horrible game.
And that's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah.
Because I think if it comes down to they can't run the ball and you need a specific throw, a 3rd and long, and he can't use his feet and he has to just throw it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah. All right. So yeah, nice utilization of the halfway in, halfway out. Did you say yours, Kaden?
I'd probably have to go same.
Yeah.
Just because I think that they'll be able to control the game at the line of scrimmage. I think that they'll be able to run the ball effectively. The Bills haven't been the greatest run defense this season. So I think that they'll be able to run the ball effectively. It won't be – I don't think – I'll say that I don't think it'll be put in Lamar's hands. I don't think it'll be maybe, like you said, the crucial play at the end to where they'll count on him to make that play. But all throughout the game, I don't think there'll be as much pressure on him as there has been in previous playoff games.
Oh, it's more pressure.
Well, I'm saying as far as responsibilities and, you know.
Well, he's got Derrick Henry, but yeah, he heard them ghosts talking.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not Sam Darnold. All right, we'll be back after this for a quick break. You staying with us, Mike, for this last segment?
Absolutely.
All right, cool beans. When we be back, we'll do some under-over. We'll do a lightning round. We'll do the Lunch Pell Award and the Feel Good Award. We're going to do them quick, but we're going to get through them. Oh, and then we're going to do predictions. So we're going to, we're going to be quick. We'll be back after this.
that 30 mark, and I think this is the awakening of this Chiefs offense.
Okay, all right. And mine is I have 31-18. And Butker puts us over the top because I was going to say 28-18. But, yeah, I'm going 31-18. I think the offense is going to do pretty good and slow them down. And they're going to get a garbage time touchdown to make it look respectful.
Okay.
What you think, Kaden?
I got the Chiefs 31-20. I think the Chiefs get out ahead early. I think we probably get up maybe 2 touchdowns to start the game. And then we kind of just coast from there. Just see Pat, playoff Pat as usual, and he's going to do his thing.
Okay, all right. And, yeah, that wraps up In the Pocket, Sports Night, 810, Sports Radio 810 WHB. And Michael Darcy from the Kansas City Sports Report, YouTube, thank you for stopping in and doing some of our segments with us. I hope it was a good time.
It absolutely was. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem at all. And we'll be back next week. This is Sports Radio 810 WHB. Listen to all the games except for the game tomorrow. It is going to be on Sports Radio 810. And follow me, Covell Hudson, on Twitter, Covell Hudson on Instagram, and Covell Hudson Comedy on YouTube. We'll be back next week.